Welcome back to MicroVerse. In the previous lecture, we studied the bacterial cell wall and learned how the cell envelopes of a gram positive and gram negative bacteria differ. Now let's move one layer inwards. Immediately beneath the cell wall lies a thin but extremely important structure, the bacterial cell membrane. Although it may look simple in a diagram, this membrane performs several essential functions. So today's question is, what does the bacterial cell membrane do? So what is the bacterial cell membrane? The bacterial cell membrane, also called the cytoplasmic membrane or plasma membrane, surround the cytoplasm. It lies between inside the cell wall. Structurally, it is mainly composed of phospholipids and proteins. The phospholipids forms a bilayer creating a flexible boundary between the inside of the bacterial cell and external environment. Embedded within this lipid bilayer are various proteins that perform important cellular functions. So remember the basic structure: phospholipid bilayer plus protein forms a bacterial cell membrane. So first, selective barrier. The first major function of the cell membrane is selective permeability. The bacterial cell cannot simply allow every substance to enter or leave. It must control what moves across the membrane. Nutrients required for growth must enter, waste product may need to leave. At the same time, the cell must maintain its internal environment. Therefore, the cell membrane acts as a selective gatekeeper. Some substances can cross more easily while others require specific transport system. The next, transport of nutrients. Bacteria needs nutrients such as sugars, amino acids, and ions. This substance must cross the cell membrane. The cell membrane uses different transport mechanism to move materials into or out of the cell. Some substances move according to their concentration gradient, other requires energy. So other important function is transport of nutrients and other molecules. Without this controlled transport, the bacterial cell could not maintain a normal metabolism. The third one is energy generation. Here is one of the most important difference between bacterial and eukaryotic cells. Bacteria do not possess mitochondria. So where does bacterial energy generation occur? Answer is at the cell membrane. The bacterial cell membrane contains enzymes and electron transport components involved in the generation of energy. During respiration, electron transport creates a gradient across the membrane. This energy is then used for the production of ATP. So you think of the bacterial cell membrane as performing functions similar to those carried out by the inner mitochondrial membrane in eukaryotic cells. This is an extremely important concept. No mitochondria. So cell membrane becomes the major site of energy generation. Then fourth one is a role in biosynthesis. The cell membrane also contains enzymes involved in the synthesis of important cellular components. This includes enzymes associated with cell wall synthesis, lipid synthesis, and other metabolic processes. So the membrane is not simply a protective covering, it is an active site of transport plus energy generation and biosynthesis. The next, secretion of substances. Bacteria also release, produce and release various substances. This may include enzymes, proteins, toxins. The cell membrane plays an important role in the movement and secretion of these substances. This becomes particularly important in pathogenic bacteria where secreted products may contribute to disease. So, one important difference, sterols. Now, let's discuss an important examination point. Most bacteria do not contain sterols in their cell membrane. However, there is an important exception which is mycoplasma. Mycoplasma lacks a cell wall. Its cell membrane contains sterols which provides additional stability. So remember, most bacteria no sterols, but mycoplasma contain sterols. The bacterial cell membrane is also an important target of a certain antimicrobial agents. Some antimicrobials disrupt the structure or function of the bacterial membrane. When membrane integrity is disrupted, the cell can lose essential ions and molecules, ultimately affecting the bacterial survival. So, once again, understanding bacterial structure helps us understand how antimicrobial drugs work. So, remember the bacterial cell membrane using word gate. So, G stands for gatekeeper, which control entry and exit. Then A stands for ATP, which is the major site of energy generation. Then T stands for transport, which moves nutrients and molecules. E stands for enzymes, contain enzymes involved in biosynthesis and metabolism. And one exception is mycoplasma, means membrane with sterols. Then, if asked what are the major functions of the bacterial cell membrane, remember selective permeability, transport, energy generation, biosynthesis secretion, and if asked which bacterium contains sterols in its cell membrane, your answer is mycoplasma. So today's question was, what does the bacterial cell membrane do? It is far more than a thin boundary around the cytoplasm. The bacterial cell membrane acts as a selective barrier, control transport, serves as a major site of energy generation, and contain enzymes involved in biosynthesis and secretion. In short, the cell wall gives the bacterium structural support, and the cell membrane keeps the bacterial cell alive and functioning. So, now that we have explored the structure surrounding the bacterial cytoplasm, let's look inside the bacterial cell. What is present within the bacterial cytoplasm, and how does a bacterium function without membrane bound nucleus or organelles? So, that brings us to next lecture, what lies inside the bacterial cell. So, thank you for learning with MicroVerse. Let's master microbiology one concept at a time.